Hi, Oakwood readers. My name is Carly Stone and I work in the Brandon School District. I work over here in central office and I work with our teachers and your principals on what it is that we teach and how well we teach it. I'm super thankful to Mrs. Stewart for asking me to read with you today and talk to you about reading. Reading is really important in my life in a lot of different ways. One way professionally is to make sure that I'm learning about all current research and good practices in teaching to make sure that I'm helping all of you be the best you can be as learners in your classrooms. But another reason reading is super important to me is that I have two little boys. One of them is a first grader and one of them is a fifth grader. And actually they both go to Harvey. And right now I'm working really hard with my first grader as he is working super duper hard to learn to read. So I use my reading skills that I have learned as I was growing up and have become an adult to help work with my children to help them be good and strong readers. So love to read, lots of fun. My first grader, his favorite books right now are Fly Guy. So if you guys know Fly Guy, that's a lot of fun. And then my fifth grader, he loves historical fiction and learning about those Lost series of books like Lost in Space and Lost in the Pacific and things. So those are some of his favorites right now. Before I had this job a few years ago, I used to be a classroom teacher. And I used to teach middle school. I used to teach 6th grade math and 6th grade science. And anytime I could, I would try to bring literacy into my classroom with my students. And so one of the books I used to read with my mathematicians as 6th graders was If You Hopped Like a Frog. And so if you don't mind, I'd love to read this with you. It brings back good memories from when I was in the classroom. And it's got lots of cool math things in there. Those of you that are upper elementary students and you're starting to look at fractions and talk about ratios, you'll like this book. But if you're a little guy, kindergarten, first, second grader maybe, there's some cool animals in here too that I think you're really going to like. So this book is called If You Hopped Like a Frog. And the author is David Schwartz, and the illustrator is James Warhola. All right, give me just a second to get us going. This book has beautiful pictures. Okay, if you hopped like a frog, you could jump from home plate to first base in one mighty leap. If you were as strong as an ant, you could lift a car. If you had the brain of a brachiosaurus, your brain would be smaller than a pea. That looks kind of funny, doesn't it? I love that picture. Let's see. If you swallowed like a snake, you could gulp a hot dog thicker than a telephone pole. Oh my goodness, isn't that crazy? Look at this little guy. That's a shrew. Do you see him? If you ate like a shrew, you could devour over 700 hamburgers in a day. Oh, that's a lot of hamburgers. If you high jumped like a flea, you could land on Lady Liberty's torch. That is a big, big jump. Oh, this one's fun. If you flicked your tongue like a chameleon, you could whip the food off your plate without using your hands. But what would your mother say? I know what I would say to my boys. If you craned your neck like a crane, you'd have to stretch your arm way up to scratch your head. If you had eagle eyes, you could spot a running rabbit from high in the clouds. If you dined like a pelican, what do you think's coming next? You could slurp a triple root beer float in one mouthful. Wow. If you grew as fast in your first 9 months as you did in the 9 months before you were born, this one's crazy. Ready? You would have been a towering tot, taller than the mountain tops, and heavier than 2.5 million elephants. It's a lot of elephants. This is my son's favorite page. If you scurried like a spider, you would charge down the entire football field in just 2 seconds. If you hugged like a bear, wait a minute, you already do. I hope you liked that book. Oh, I had so much fun reading it to all of you today. Keep reading, Oakward readers. Readings makes our brains strong and our bodies healthy. Take care. Thanks again. Bye.